Let's all go to the local game shop. Let's all go to the local game shop. Let's all go to the local game shop and buy ourselves some swag. What's up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, dogs and cats, and all the fish in the ocean? It is I, your favorite carbon-based life form that is the OGGM, broadcasting live from Site B on this windy Wednesday morning, the day before Turkey Day. It's 8:35 in the morning. It is the 22nd day of November in the year 2023. It is bright and sunny and windy here. Hopefully you are all well and not suffering from the allergy bunnies like I am. It's time to take a look at what might be, could be, maybe on your shelves at your friendly local game store. That is, if you're lucky enough to live in a city that has a friendly local game store, and that friendly local game store actively supports role-playing. Unless you live where I live, in Ventura, when you're in driving distance of half a dozen friendly local game stores, none of which actively support role-playing, which I say every week. You'd think I'm bitter, but I'm not. Also, there might be some Black Friday sales. So let's take a look. And remember, as always, just because it says it's in stock, it doesn't actually mean it's in stock. So if I mention something you want to go see, if they have, call ahead and make sure they have it. Especially now, because, I mean, just the holidays, these poor guys at the retailer. All right, from a company called Two Little Mice, we have Household, Volume 1. We have A Practical Guide to Living Inside the House. We have The Saga of a Fragile Piece. And we have the narrator screen and map of the house. So this is a role-playing game basically inspired by The Littles, The Borrowers, Mouse Guard, Secret of Nim, stuff like that, where you play little teeny people who live inside the crooks and crannies and interiors of a house and have to live out their lifestyle of not only dealing with how do I survive when I live inside a cupboard and try not to get caught by the bigs, but also dealing with things like cats, dogs, spiders, mice, vacuum cleaners, Roombas, all these things. So if you've ever wanted to live out the fantasies of being a borrower or a little or a teeny pixie that lives inside someone's house, this is the game for you. Household Volume 1 is actually, these are $50 each. So the first volume of the system is $50. The DM's guide or practical guide to living inside the house is $50. The Saga of Fragile Piece is $50. And the DM screen with map is $15. And this is all sent in sort of a vaguely 19th century Europe where you play little teeny people who live inside a large abandoned house, or it could be a populated house. So any borrowers, Secret of Nim, type of fans out there? From Sancton Media, we have Legends of Uganda, issue number 1, Gen Con 2023 issue for Dungeon Crawl Classic, my favorite retro clone. This is a $6 adventure set in and around Uganda. That's a real world place based upon and inspired by the mythology and local legends and urban stuff like that of that part of the world, as well as how the political strife and history of that world would affect a alternate take on it where you add Dungeon Crawl Classics to it too. So I guess this is a modern day using Dungeon Crawl Classics, or it's just saying, hey, here's an example of what fantasy Uganda would look like, and here's the system we think you should use for fantasy Uganda. Either way, it's $6. So, I mean, you can't say no. You might learn something about Uganda. I'm all about you guys learning things. From a company called Wizards with Laser Rifles, we have The Spike of Dosku. This is also a Dungeon Crawl Classic adventure. It's $15. You are mercenary wizards in a city that is broken up by civil war. You have to deal with the various level things. There's also a 0 level funnel set in it. So sounds fun. I love the funnels. $15 for a funnel. Of course, it's a funnel. You can only really use it once per group. But, funnels are great. And this gives you an interesting setting for a funnel in that it's a city-based funnel. From Space Penguin Inc., we have Prison of the Forsaken Bear God. And look at that classic, Gru the Wanderer art there. This is also for Dungeon Crawl Classic. This is a $15 adventure. It's a 6th level adventure. Has anybody ever gotten a character up to 6th level in a Dungeon Crawl Classic campaign? My hat's off to you if you had. It features a town, a hex crawl, and a dungeon. So everything you need for years of gaming. I mean, you'd have to get to get them to 6th level. And it's only $15. So cool. From Planet X Game, we have 3 curses for Sister Saren and Dungeon Malarkey. There's a word you don't hear anymore. Malarkey. That's a bunch of malarkey, Mar Hockman. 3 Curses for Sister Saren is a 5e adventure for 3rd to 6th level characters where you have to deal with a whole bunch of demons and goblins and other things that are trying to find the burying place of a long dead nun named Sister Sarah. And why is it they're so suddenly interested in the location of the corpse of this woman who died many years ago? Dungeon Malarkey for $25 is a whole bunch of weird spells and magical things and weird hazards and unusual monsters. Basically, it's just a collection of stuff to add on to your 5e game to make it a little more gonzo, a little more weird, a little more bizarre. Though really, I would say if you want weird, bizarre gonzo, you'd either head on over to my very good friend Venger Sotanis and dive yourself into the gonjo over-the-top Elderith funk fantasy sci-fi that is Chalt, or head on over to the Red Room and pick up all their crazy stuff, including Wretched Vigilantes, which I wrote and is on sale this week. Link down below. Shout out to Venger. From Throne Games, we have Immortals of the Present Peril, alternate cover, and Back to Basics, issue 10. These are for general OSR, OSE, OGL, D20 retro clone type games. Immortals of the Present Peril, alternate cover, is $20. Deals with sort of it's got the Norns in it, so that's what? North mythology. The Norns have disappeared from their posts at the base of the World Tree. The gods who live there are blinded without their help, and the 9 worlds are in chaos. Odin calls on powerful NPCs to find the Norns and save Asgard. Yes, because that's who Odin would call in a time of crisis in Valhalla and in the realm of the Norse gods. He wouldn't call on any of the famous heroes. He wouldn't call on Thor. Or he'd be like, hey, let's get the... Okay, my choices are my son Thor and some of his superpowered, super cruel, godlike friends, or a bunch of idiots with sticks. And is that one wearing a wedding dress? Yeah, we're going to go with those guys. Yeah. Back to Basics, issue 10 contains spells, magic items, monsters, encounters, comic books, interviews, and all sorts of other stuff to enhance your OSR, OSE, OGL, ORC type game. So think of it as sort of a poor man's take on the classic Dragon magazine. And this is only $10. And from Renegade Game Studios, we have Werewolf the Apocalypse dice. So this is a $20 set of 10-siders for the new latest version of Werewolf the Apocalypse. So just to be sure, these are dice to play the game. The dice are not werewolves. Okay, just to be sure, because just in case Cal or Dice Tales or Anthony here get it confused, the dice are not werewolves. They are for Werewolf the Apocalypse. And it looks like you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 16 10-sided dice with all the markings to it. So if you don't happen to own 16 10-sided dice or enough 10-sided dice to play Werewolf the Apocalypse, here is $20 worth of green 10-sided dice with everything you need to accompany the current iteration of Werewolf the Apocalypse. And know, if you buy these dice and you accidentally step on one, you will not turn into a werewolf either. Sorry, I know. our friend Harmony Ginger just recently stepped on a 4-sider, and there's a lot of concern that she would gain, radioactive 4-sider powers. Sadly, no, it didn't happen. So I know that you're all disappointed that these dice will not, in fact, turn you to a werewolf. That's it for all the tabletop role-playing game product that is available today. But don't forget to ignore everything I just said. Go to the link down below. Head on over to the Red Room. Pick up the Wretched Vigilantes series written by yours truly, or the Rested Beastery series, also written by yours truly, all marked down for Black Friday, including the latest, Wretched from the Beyond, which I'm about to go through. Till next time, I have been the OGGM. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel yet, please take a moment and subscribe. Help me hit 2,000 subs by the end of the year. I'll be very grateful. Till next time, stay safe out there. It's very windy. And don't forget, it's going to be super crazy because it's Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and stuff like that. Speaking of Black Friday, we'll also check on the Black Friday sales. All right, I've talked enough. I'll be back with you guys in a bit. Till then, see ya.